Imagine for a moment that the people you see on movie screens, on stage, or in the headlines, the ones you think you know so well, were carrying a secret so life-changing they chose to share it with almost no one. A decision so personal, yet so powerful that it could change the way you see them forever. Today, we're going to uncover the stories of 5 world-famous celebrities who quietly took a step that few would expect. They embraced Islam. Now, I'm not just talking about headlines or gossips. These are real human journeys filled with curiosity, doubt, discovery, and courage. Each story is different, but every one of them will challenge what you thought you knew about fame, faith, and the human spirit. And when we get to number 2, well, I promise you, it's going to leave you in disbelief. So sit back, open your mind, and let's take a journey into the private, powerful, and often surprising world of those who found peace in the most unexpected way. By the end, you may find yourself looking at faith and perhaps even life a little differently. When someone is constantly in the public eye, their life often feels like it belongs to everyone else. Every action is analyzed, every word is dissected, and every personal choice becomes a headline. For celebrities, this reality creates a unique challenge when it comes to matters as deeply personal as faith. The curiosity to explore spiritual beliefs often begins quietly, almost invisibly. It can be sparked by a single conversation, an unexpected journey, or a moment of crisis that makes them question everything they thought they knew. Yet, for a public figure, even this first step into religious exploration can feel like walking into a storm if the world finds out. In many cases, the path toward Islam starts in a place far removed from cameras and crowds. A film shoot in a Muslim country, a friendship with someone who practices the faith, or a book read in solitude can plant the seed. The celebrity might start asking questions, reading more, and reflecting in private. They are drawn to the simplicity of the message, the discipline of prayer, the emphasis on charity, and the peace that comes with surrendering to one Creator. But alongside this curiosity comes a deep awareness of the potential consequences of making such a journey public. Misinterpretation, backlash, or a complete shift in how the media and fans perceive them. Because of this, many choose to explore quietly. They may attend gatherings in secret, learn how to pray behind closed doors, or confide only in a trusted few. In a world where most people's religious beliefs can be personal and private without issue, celebrities have to guard theirs like a hidden treasure. Privacy becomes essential, not because they are ashamed, but because they understand the need for protection while they grow in their faith. This phase is often the most delicate, where understanding and conviction are still being built. And outside noise could drown out the clarity they are seeking. This secrecy also shields them from the risk of their faith being reduced to a trend or a news story. When the world is constantly searching for a narrative, a celebrity's spiritual awakening can easily be twisted into gossip. By keeping the journey to themselves, they protect not only their image, but also the sanctity of what they are discovering. For them, it is less about hiding from the truth and more about guarding something precious until the time feels right to share it, or perhaps choosing never to share it at all. One of the most fascinating aspects of faith is how it can cross every border, every language, and every cultural boundary without losing its essence. Islam is often seen through the lens of certain regions or ethnic groups, yet its teachings are universal in a way that resonates with people from all walks of life. For many who embrace it, the attraction does not come from cultural identity or family tradition, but from encountering principles that speak directly to the human heart. Celebrities who have explored Islam often describe feeling a deep sense of connection to values that transcend geography, compassion for others, humility in success, gratitude in hardship, and the discipline of daily self-reflection through prayer. These values are not limited to any one culture. A European actor, an American singer, or an athlete from South America can read the Quran and find messages that address their struggles, ambitions, and inner conflicts. The core belief in one God, without intermediaries, without complex rituals, appeals to many because it strips faith down to its most essential truth. This simplicity is often what surprises people the most. In a world overloaded with information, opinions, and distractions, the clarity of such a straightforward message feels refreshing. The universality of Islam's appeal is also found in its moral framework, the idea that wealth should be used to help the poor, that success should not lead to arrogance, and that all humans are equal before God, resonates deeply with those who have seen both the beauty and the corruption of fame. Celebrities, in particular, are aware of how easily life can become consumed by image and ego. In Islam, they discover a system that consistently calls them back to humility, reminding them that no matter how much applause they receive, they are still just one soul among billions. For some, the connection begins not with theology, but with the lived experience of Muslim communities, being welcomed into a family for a meal, witnessing Ramadan in a Muslim country, or observing the generosity of strangers during charity work can leave a lasting impression. These experiences show that Islam is not just a set of beliefs, but a way of life that values kindness, patience, and responsibility toward others. For those seeking meaning beyond material success, these principles create a sense of home even in a faith and culture they were not born into. In today's world, where every detail of a person's life can be shared instantly and spread across the globe within minutes, keeping something as profound as a spiritual journey private is an act of remarkable strength. Celebrities live under a microscope where even the smallest change in behavior can spark rumors and speculation. Choosing to embrace faith, especially one that is often misunderstood or misrepresented, requires not only conviction but also the wisdom to protect it from premature exposure. For many public figures, the early stages of faith are a deeply personal process, an intimate dialogue between themselves and God that does not need to be filtered through the opinions of millions of strangers. This decision to remain quiet is not about shame or fear. It is about safeguarding the purity of the experience. Faith, when new, is like a young plant, easily damaged by harsh winds or careless handling. By keeping their spiritual practices and beliefs out of the spotlight, celebrities give themselves the space to learn, to question, and to grow without the noise of public judgment. They may pray in private, read scripture in the quiet of their home, or seek guidance from trusted mentors away from cameras and microphones. These moments are free from the pressure to perform or to explain, allowing the connection with God to deepen naturally. The irony is that in an age obsessed with openness and transparency, withholding something from public view can be more powerful than sharing it. For a celebrity, quiet faith sends a subtle but profound message. Not everything in life is for display. In an industry that often thrives on image, secrecy becomes a form of authenticity, a way to ensure that the journey is genuine and not shaped by public expectation. This privacy also prevents the faith from being reduced to a publicity stunt or a fleeting phase, which can happen when the media turns someone's spiritual life into entertainment. The choice to remain discreet allows for a kind of freedom that fame rarely affords. It grants the ability to make mistakes, to seek forgiveness, and to evolve without the constant glare of attention. Over time, this private devotion can become a source of strength, a steady anchor in the unpredictable storms of public life. It is a reminder that some of the most important transformations happen far from the stage lights, in moments no one else will ever see. In much of the Western world, Islam is often viewed through the narrow lens of media narratives, political debates, or historical misunderstandings. For many Europeans, the idea of someone willingly choosing Islam can be surprising, even confusing, because it challenges deeply ingrained perceptions. Yet, when a celebrity, a person admired, followed, and often imitated, embraces the faith, it forces people to reconsider what they thought they knew. These stories highlight the conversion is not about coercion or cultural obligation, but about personal conviction that grows from genuine exploration and reflection. Celebrities who come to Islam often do so after encountering its teachings in unexpected ways. It might be through travel, friendships, humanitarian work, or even moments of personal crisis that open them to new perspectives. They are exposed to the beauty of Islamic values, justice, humility, generosity, and compassion, and discover that these ideals are not foreign but universal. For many in Europe, seeing a public figure speak positively about Islam breaks the stereotype of it being rigid or oppressive, replacing it with a more human and relatable image. This kind of change in perception can be powerful. A famous person's journey makes the conversation about Islam less abstract and more personal. It becomes about a real individual, someone whose life is already familiar to the audience, choosing a path that may have seemed unlikely. That choice invites curiosity rather than fear, and questions rather than assumptions. Even those who do not agree with the faith are often compelled to ask why someone would embrace it despite knowing the potential for backlash or misunderstanding. For some Europeans, these stories become an entry point to learning more about Islam without the filters of politics or media bias. They see that people from their own culture with similar backgrounds and lifestyles can find meaning and peace in a religion they once saw as distant. It challenges the notion that Islam belongs only to certain ethnicities or parts of the world, showing instead that it can resonate with anyone seeking purpose. In this way, a single celebrity's private decision can spark broader public dialogue. It shifts the narrative from suspicion to understanding, from stereotypes to shared values. Over time, these individual choices may quietly and sincerely have the potential to reshape the way an entire audience sees a faith they thought they already understood. What makes certain stories unforgettable is the element of surprise. The moment when something completely unexpected disrupts what we thought we knew. When speaking about celebrities who have embraced Islam, this is especially true. The second name on such a list often carries the most impact because it catches people off guard, forcing them to stop and reassess their assumptions. It might be someone whose public image appears to be the opposite of what people associate with faith, perhaps known for a lavish lifestyle, controversial roles, or outspoken opinions that seem far removed from religious discipline. This contrast creates a powerful emotional reaction, making the discovery feel even more significant. The shock factor works on multiple levels. First, it engages the audience's curiosity. People want to know how and why such a transformation happened. Was it a sudden epiphany or a slow, deliberate journey? What personal challenges or moments of clarity led to such a decision? These questions keep listeners hooked, not just because they're intrigued by the person, but because they are eager to understand the deeper motivations behind such a profound change. Second, it breaks down the idea that faith is predictable or reserved for certain types of people. Seeing someone who seems unlikely to accept Islam actually do so opens the door to the possibility that anyone, regardless of their past or public persona, can have a spiritual awakening. This realization can be inspiring to audiences who may have thought their own lives were too far removed from faith to make a change. The emotional weight of this kind of revelation often comes from the humanity behind the celebrity. Fame can make people seem larger than life, but learning about such a personal, vulnerable choice strips away the glamour and reveals a shared human search for meaning. The second spot on the list becomes the turning point, the moment where the audience shifts from mild interest to genuine emotional connection. They see not just a famous figure, but a person who faced inner struggles, asked difficult questions, and found answers in a place many would never have expected. This unexpected choice often lingers in the minds of those who hear it. Long after the story ends, people keep replaying it, sharing it, and debating it. It becomes more than just a fact about a celebrity. It becomes a reminder that life is full of turns we never see coming, and that faith can sometimes arrive in the most surprising of packages. When we look at the journeys of these celebrities, we realize that faith is not confined by borders, backgrounds, or expectations. It can enter the life of a global icon just as quietly as it can change the heart of an ordinary person. These stories remind us that true spiritual transformation is deeply personal, often unfolding far from the public eye, and that it can challenge the stereotypes we've been taught to believe. Whether their decision is shared openly or kept private, what matters most is the sincerity behind it and the courage to follow the truth as they see it. I hope these stories inspire you to keep an open mind, to question assumptions, and to see beyond appearances. Life has a way of surprising us, and sometimes the most unexpected journeys lead to the most profound destinations. Thank you for listening, and I wish you all the best in your own search for understanding and purpose. Good luck, and may your path be filled with clarity, compassion, and peace.